أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم أفوض أمري إلى الله والله بصير بالعباد الحمد والثناء لله رب العالمين الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا هدانا الله ثم الصلاة والسلام والتحية الإكرام على جميع الأنبياء والمرسلين والشهداء والصالحين والصديقين وعلى خير خلقه البشير النذير السراج المنير الذي سمي في السماء بأحمد وفي الأرضين بأبي القاسم محمد
اللهم صل على
وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين المنتجبين الميامين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
ولعن دائما على أعدائهم أعداء الله إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد فقد قال الله سبحانه وتبارك وتعالى في كتابه الكريم وهو أصدق الحديث وقوله بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us in this blessed month of Ramadan al-Mubarak and give strength and tawfiq to have all the ni'mat and rahmat to be included among the muttaqoon and the judgment day when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala call upon us ayn al-muttaqoon, all of us inshallah we can be among the muttaqoon with the leadership of our beloved Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen Imam al-Muttaqeen Imam al-Qa'ideen Ali ibn Abi Talib.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Dear brothers and sisters, as I mentioned the first night, the topic is going to be the sermon of our beloved Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen in Nahj al-Balagha, which is sermon number 192 or 93, depending on what type of Nahj al-Balagha you will look. I guess either 191 or 192, which is Khutbah Hammam, are the attributes of the righteous people, which is described by our beloved Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen. The reason I chose this topic is this month is month of Ramadan, and our journey, inshallah, will begin from the Iman, and inshallah we can elevate to the highest rank of the righteous people, muttaqoon. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prescribed us fasting. The purpose of the fasting is لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. May we be among the muttaqoon and those who have a piety and taqwa in their lives. Indeed, the key for all the ni'mat and rahmat according to our beloved Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen is a taqwa, and taqwa is key for all the ni'mat and rahmat. There is no doubt about that. But the point is how we have to practice taqwa so we can be among the muttaqoon. That's what our beloved Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen, he gave the answer to us. As I mentioned yesterday, the first rank of the servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the ubudiyah, bandagi. The bandagi, ubudiyah is the foundation. And without the ubudiyah and bandagi, there is no foundation. Once we have no foundation, no ground, we cannot build any thing on top of that. That's why if those who just worshipped Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without bandagi, without being servant to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, their ibadat and their service will not be accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then the second point is Islam. Muslim. The Muslim is something we inshallah built the pillars after the foundation to have some sort of structure. So that's the Iman, that's Islam, Taslim, which is complete submission, total submission to will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's halal and haram, all the ahkam. And the third is to have a building itself, which is Iman. Again, hadith and riwayat, some people, they submit themselves to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and they have a good field ground and foundation of the ibadah and ubudiyah, and they have a structure, but that bait, that house, considered as a baytul kharab or kharab. Kharib or kharab is something just we have a house without any beauty on it. Once you enter, yes, you see the house, a building, a structure, but it cannot live in that building. That's called Iman without taqwa. Taqwa is something it will make to a comfortable life to live there. For example, you have this house. Sometimes having a house, a structure building, is worse than not having. Why? Because, for example, if it's a hot day, like today, you have a structure. If you're out, at least you can feel the air and wind. You can enjoy that at least. But if you have a building, structure, house, no AC, no comfort, nothing, once you enter there, the heat is more than outside. That's what according to hadith and riwayat consider that. Don't build a home, a house, which has no comfort on it. Qila, when one of the companions asked, what is that comfort? Well, the Prophet or Imam or Ma'asumeen, they said that that comfort comes from the taqwa and piety. That's what we have to seek, that. We have to learn and we have to practice. And when our beloved Imam Amir al-Mu'minin, he asked, what are the sifat and attributes of the believers, the righteous people, muttaqoon? Imam said, they have lots of beautiful attributes. And Imam began to talk. The first one we talked and discussed a little bit last night is mantiquhum as-sawab. They speak to the point. They talk to the point. They have control of their own tongue. It's very important to control ourselves. Lots of people, they speak and then they think. What Imam says is, first think and then speak. We have to change our attitude, especially at the time of anger. When we are angry, first we speak and then we think. First we curse, we say bad words, we attack, and we talk nonsense, and then later on we think, we observe, we digest that, and then at that time it's too late. Allama Jawadi Amri Hafadhullah, one of his teacher, he used to say all the time that when you're angry in your home, just have a hidden camera. Document your action, the way you talk, the way you argue, the way you deal with the people. For example, if you're in your home and you're arguing and you're in the state of anger and you talk to your wife, just record that. And after settle down, a day or two, just watch your movie yourself. How nasty actor you are. You'll regret yourself. That, gosh, I should, control myself at that time. That's what Imam Ali al-Islam described. The first attribute of the believers is the one who has a control of his own tongue. منطقهم الصواب. منطق nutq. When they speak from their wisdom, with their talent, with their mind, not emotions. They don't speak emotional talk. Rather, they speak rational talk. منطقهم الصواب. That's why Imam said, what we speak من رضوان الله أو من رضوان الشيطان, from the treasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or from the treasure of shaitan. If you speak from the treasure of shaitan, you are representing shaitan. If you're talking from the wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's what considered in Quran Ibadur Rahman. They are the servant to God. Obviously, why we have to control ourselves? Why we have to control our tongue? That's very important. According to hadith and riwayat, the consequences are very, very severe. And if we know the consequences of the bad talk, not controlling our tongue, we cannot cure our illnesses. The first one is إياك وما يستحجن الكلام فإنه يحبس عليك اللئام وينفر عنك الكرام. Control yourself. Why? Because the moment you don't control yourself, the good people, kiram, they go away from you. Li'am, the bad people, they will be around you. Interestingly, lots of time, those who have a cheap tongue, their friends, peer pressure, circle are cheap. Why? Because those who have a dignity, those who care about themselves, they're not going to be friend of you. That's the first one. Second, فَإِنَّهُ يُغِرُ الْقَلْبِ. It will plant the seed of animosity in the hearts of the people. Believe me, when there is a dispute between husband and wife, when they come to me, when they talk about all those bad words they use all along in their life. Maybe they don't care about, for example, what happened these 10, 20 years of their life, about financial things, this and that. No, barely they talk about that. All what they remember is how he said what she said. The moment we use bad words, don't control our tongue, we plant the seed of animosity within our capacity in the hearts of others. The third one, man sa'a kalamuhu kathara malamuh. One will regret himself. As I said, if you watch your own video in the time of anger, you will regret yourself. Fourth, أكثر الناس ذنوبا أكثرهم كلاما. The more you talk and your tongue is out of control, the more you commit this sin. On the judgment day, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask. One of the greatest scholars, Allama Dastaghair, Shaykh Dastaghair, he quoted from his teacher, Marhum Imam Khomeini, that with tongue one can commit more than 52 sins. Backbiting, slander, rumor, tuhma, accusation, you name it, all this what? Hurting the feeling of the mu'min. All this is from your tongue. We commit these 52 sins with our tongue. Allahu Akbar. It's very interesting. One of the great prophets, Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, they also, when they want to advise to others, they said that you need to control your tongue. Our tongue should be under our control of a wisdom. The moment my wisdom is controlled by my tongue, that's the problem. My tongue should be under control of my wisdom. عجبت لمن يتكلم بما لا ينفعه في دنيا ولا يكسب له أجره في آخره. But the Prophet, he entered into the masjid, people, they're laughing and talking, and there is no benefit whatsoever. He said, Ajibtu, I'm surprised from the person whose talk cannot give a benefit to his word, dunya, neither his akhirah. At least when we talk, it should give the benefit for our dunya or akhirah. If you don't gain the dunya, neither akhirah, what's the purpose of talking? Lots of time we talk and trying about the sin of others. It means the moment we talk, I'm going to, for example, entwine about the sin of others or backbiting. I'm taking all his burden and guna on my shoulder. Why? Gunah bi lazzat. There's nothing just from committing. For what? Al-alim wal-hakim la yatakallamu bil-fudul. Obviously, the wise person and intellectual people, they don't speak for nothing. إياك وفضول الكلام فإنه يظهر من عيوبك ما بطن ويحرك عليك من أعدائك ما سكن. Be careful when you talk. Why? Because once you talk, you're representing yourself. And you will open your personality to others. What you have like mistakes or shortcomings, it will come out when you speak. Be careful. It's very important. You don't want to show yourself. Don't conceal that. Allahu Akbar. لا تكونن مكثارا بالنطق مهضارا. Don't be among those who just commit a sin upon sin upon sin, pile up of that without any action. One of the companions said, how I can sin without acting? He said, with your tongue. You're sinning. Why? You're not acting. It's very important. Allahu Akbar. When I say act, like the speaking is not only speaking, but all the chatting. You see, lots of people, they chat. Alhamdulillah, it's a great blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to have internet. But this internet, it's social networking, collapsed the families. The social networking people, they think that, oh, it's a secure. No, there's no secure. There's no privacy anymore. The moment you post something, lots of people, even there's okay, I'm in bathroom, I'm doing this. Why? Twitter, Facebook, I don't know, this, and all this social networking, MySpace, all of that is for the purpose. But those who directed that, they know what's the purpose. The purpose is to penetrate in your personalities, in your families, to destroy that. But it has a good purpose also. I'm not denying the good side of that. But in general, one has to control. There is no privacy at all for all this social networking and so on and so forth. Allahu Akbar. لا تقل ما لا تعلم بل لا تقل كل ما تعلم. Don't say what you don't know. Your Holy Prophet says, don't say what you know. Everything you don't need to say. Like lots of times, I know maybe lots of things. I don't need to say everything to others. And especially if I don't know anything, it's very, like Allama Burujadi, one of the great scholars, may Allah bless his soul and include him with the Shuhada of Karbala. He was invited by the people, alaykum salam, and people said, oh, you know what, today we invited you to iftar, and if you can talk to us. He went to member, he said, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. I'm sorry, I'm not prepared tonight, So I don't want to waste your time, neither my time. Wassalamu alaikum. He said, you are a great scholar, Allama. I said, yes, before I talk, before I speak, I need to prepare myself. Since I have no preparation, I don't want to waste your time. لا تقل ما لا تعلم. Just guessing. Lots of people, mashallah, you heard the word of, oh, is harfan maula. What is that? That's just one of nothing. I mean, mashallah, some people, they have a jawabun, hadir, wa'atid. They have answer for everything. You talk about, for example, engineering, doctoring, for example, plumbing, you graveyard, cemetery, you name it, you talk whatever. He has something to share. You know what? Oh, I have this. Whether it's accurate information or not. Just he wants to show himself. His politicians, he's a doctor, he's a physician, he's a cardiologist, he's all, mashallah, all the fields. If you go to the cardiologist, if you have a fever, so I'm sorry, I don't deal with this. You go to Allahu Akbar. That's the sign of wisdom. That's the sign of intellectual. A doctor, a physician, for example, cardiologist, he has to be first physician and then once you go, I have some fever. Oh, I'm not dealing, I don't deal with this. Please go to the physician. Why? That's the symbol of a sign of wisdom. You see, although maybe he knows, but he doesn't want to step in the territory of others. There's a severe consequences. Although here in this country where you live, there's lots of consequences for obvious things. If someone can prove that you damage my body, you will get lawsuit. But someone can prove that, oh, you damage our soul or, ruh or deen, nothing. The freedom. Freedom of speech for what? Freedom of speech for only and only to destroy the iman faith. Freedom of speech is just, you can have whatever, for example, destroy the personality of the people, slander, backbiting, this and that. You have a freedom of speech. You talk day and night about, for example, shaitan, shayateen, iman, no problem. But the moment you talk about, for example, something which can cause the damage for the body of the people, you will drag to the court and beg lawsuit. That's the system, shaitan system, no? There's no doubt about that. Freedom of speech just gears towards what? Towards their hidden agendas. Anyhow, لا تقل ما لا تعلم. Don't speak what you don't know. Don't guess it. It's a beautiful to practice in this month of Ramadan that, oh, I'm sorry, I don't know. I will look into that. I will research. Just, oh, how to wudu? You know what? Do this way. MashaAllah, he's a faqih, he's a alim, he's a mujtahid, he's a ayatullah. You name it, MashaAllah. There is no doubt about that. Oh, it's good to learn that I don't know. I will look at. Let's go and see the Risala. That's why in the fasting, while you're fasting, if you say something on behalf of any imam, a small word, your break will fast. Your fast will break. Batil. Why? Because you're entering in the area which is not yours. We have to learn that. In fact, we have to learn that لا تقل كل ما تعلم. You don't need to say what you know, everything. No. Store something for yourself. المؤمن قلبه أسرار الناس. Mu'min believer, his heart of the believer is a graveyard of the secrets of the people. Once people, they go and they trust you, they talk to you, it should be within yourself. قَلِيلُهُ يَنْفَعُ كَثِيرُهُ قَاتِلٌ. What a beautiful hadith of a sixth Imam. Tongue, speaking, is like a cure, like a medicine. قَلِيلُهُ, like the amount which we needed, the quantity which we needed, ينفع. it will benefit. وَكَثِيرُهُ قَاتِلٌ. A lot is killer. For example, just you take aspirin. You have one or two aspirin. If you have a headache, it's cut. But if you take 100 aspirins, قاتل, it will kill the person. Same thing, kalam. We have to understand that قَلِيلُهُ, to speak little is good. It's very important to learn the way we approach, the way we talk. In Farsi also there is an example that Beshin, Betamak, Befarma, Yekiye, or the car. So just mashallah, have a seat. Please, sit down. Or some other words I don't know how to use here. And all is same. It means sit down. But the way you talk is very important. It will come from your wisdom, your intellect. As-sumtu, I mean, the fasting. You know, in the time of Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, the fasting was what? Not to speak. What a beautiful thing, mashallah. Fasting was not to speak. Fast, not to eat. At that time, there was a fasting, not to speak for a certain time. We have a concept of i'tikaf. And also, it's very important to learn regarding hadith and riwayat. That we have a numerous ample amount of hadith and riwayat which emphasize that the mu'min, the believer, when he controls his tongue, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will speak on his behalf. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, angels will speak on his behalf. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us. That's why we have al-jamalu fil lisan, al-lisanu mizanul insan. The beauty of the person is in his tongue, and the ugly face of the human, the man also in his tongue. It's up to you how you want to represent yourself. What we have advised by a hadith and riwayat of the Prophet, when you speak to the point, the truth, and with strength. Don't compromise about the truth. Lots of time, when it's come for the truth, we don't speak. We control ourselves. And when it's not needed, we expose. That's the completely opposite attribute of what Imam alayhi salam is promoting. Ala inna hadha lisan miftahu kulli khairin wa shar. Know that this tongue is the key for all the beauties and all the evil. That's up to you. You want to open the doors of beauty and the Jannah with your tongue, or you want to open with your tongue the doors of hellfire. That's up to us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us. Please recite salawat. So the first attribute in the eyes of our beloved Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen about the muttaqoon, those who are righteous people, those who are muttaqeen, because month is month of taqwa and muttaqoon, la'allakum tattaqoon. The first is month al-sawab, they speak to the point. The second one is malbasuhumul iqtisad. Malbas, meaning that their dress is iqtisad, is moderation. Their dress is moderation. Malbas is from libas. Libas is not quote unquote this dress itself, rather the way you represent your personality to the people. Yes, one of the important aspect is wearing this, appropriate dress. Dress itself is very important. Iqtisad is moderation, meaning that each and every time we have to wear what it should be. You see, we have a beautiful legacy of Ahlul Bayt. Imam Ali in his time, he used to wear the clothes which full of patches. Why? Because that was the normal clothing at that time. But our 60th Imam, 50th Imam, they used to wear sizably good clothing. Why? Because at that time that was the norm. Why? Because if Imam Ali al-Islam, he wear in his time great clothing, people will think that he is, not among us. Or in the time of our fifth Imam, sixth Imam, or fifth Imam, he wear the clothes which has a full of patches. People will think otherwise. We should be very careful where we live, what we wear, and how we represent to others. Moderation is key for all that. Moderation. Man arada salama fa'alayhi bil qasd. Those who wants to have a salamat and peace in their life, moderation. Whether you're wealthy or you're living in poverty. In both time, moderation is very important. Lots of people they spend lots of money for Mark or Gap, for example, Chanel, this, that, just to mark. To have that mark, they spend lots of money. Same cap, maybe you could buy $2-3 because of that mark. You're going to spend, tens of dollars. Same shirt you can buy without any mark. It's a good, decent shirt with $5, $7, $10. But sometimes you spend $50, $60. Well, just because of the mark. That's haram. There's no doubt about that. Especially I would like to address to my younger brothers, should know that once we go and we buy from the shoe, from head to toe, what we wear is very important. If Quran says about wife and husband, Hunna libasun lakum, wa lakum libasun lahunna, each of them, they are dressed to each other. This dress, what is the meaning of dress? Dress is meant for protecting each other from all the problems outside. If you are, for example, winter, the winter dress is different than summer dress. Inside of the home is different than outside of the home. You don't want to wear pajama for your work. And you don't want to sleep with your tie and with your coat and with your decent clothes while you want to go to sleep. You don't wear that. And once you come to the masjid, there is a different coat. So, agar hadith and riwayat for the masjid, you have to have the most decent and the most, desirable clothes should be for the masjids. That's why, agar hadith and riwayat, we have to spend more for the clothing for the masjid or perfuming and other things for the masjids. That's how the teachings of Ahlul Bayt and Holy Prophet. It's very important. إن بقاء المسلمين وبقاء الإسلام أن تصير الأمور عند من يعرف فيها الحق ويصنع فيها المعروف. The survival of the Muslimin and Mu'mineen is in the moderation. The moment Muslims, they are out of the track of moderation, they're finished. If you look at the Muslim countries, shame for the Muslim countries to have 50 plus Muslim countries, and 80% of the resources, world resources, we have that, and still we have like a Bangladesh, we have like a Somali, Muslim countries. They struggle, they fight to just have a bread to eat and sleep. You don't have. The amount of israf in Dubai is a very small country, Dubai, which is the local population of that country is less than 350,000 people, quarter million, close to quarter million. Although the outsiders are more than the local population. Just local population for the iftar of the month of Ramadan, they spend 3 times of the whole food for the Bangladesh necessary for 3 years. That's the census what you get. I was also invited like a couple of years ago in Dubai for just a party of like 10-15 people. The first thing I was watching is there was a camel roasting, mashallah, and then a couple of cow and then goat, and so I thought that maybe 1,000, 2,000 people they will come and attack. Nothing, few people just they eat here and then rest of either garbage and throw it away. That's just to show off. have that lavish, nothing. Again, don't make a mistake when I say moderation. It's not like, for example, you have to be very tight. No. Al-Bakhil, the stingy person, the one who is very tight, he is mal'oonun maghboonun. Sometimes you see, for example, same amount of food you want to spend, like for example, let's say you want to invite a person with, for example, $50, you can make it 3-4 dishes, sizable, very good, and you can have one lavish dish. That's up to you. You have to be very moderation. Stingy, being a like hand-tight person is the helper of shaitan. We have a hadith and riwayat that those who are tied to his family, they're not going to see any khair in this dunya, neither in hereafter. The worst person among us is the one who is tied and stingy towards his family. That's not good. And neither lavish person, extra spending person, no. Israf and tabdhir, both are wrong. You have to be moderation in all our approach. It's very important. خير لباس كل زمان لباس أهله. The best dress of each and every period is the dress, the libas, which is considered as a decent dress. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us and give strength and tawfiq to have all the ni'mat and rahmat wa Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat. Since we are commemorating the majlis for one of the marhuma, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless his soul and shower her with the and include her with the shuhada of Karbala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala elevate her maqam with the Zainabiya Kubra and Hazrat Zahra Salamullah alayha and Shuhada of Karbala. I'd like to mention a few points, brothers and sisters. When we talk about Isar Sawab Majlis, it's very important, all of us, to have a dhikrul maut, remembrance of death. Dhikrul maut means something that, oh, that's not for me, someone else. We don't know. وَالْمَوْتِ يَأْتِي بَغْتَةً وَالْقَبْرُ صُنْدُوقُ الْعَمَلِ. Maut will come all of a sudden, and the graveyard will become a box of our actions. Allah, صُنْدُوقُ الْعَمَلِ, box of our actions. Although we think that it's a cage, but it's not a cage. It's a box of our amal. If I make that box as a heaven or samawat wal ard, that small grave become a heaven. It's very important for us to understand that. Why? Because the concept of death is very important. All of us. It's good sometimes to go and to engage in washing the bodies. Believe me, the moment you go and wash the body, dead body of people, you'll remind that for a couple of days or weeks. Sometimes I also in San Jose go and engage that. Sometimes young people, old people, it doesn't matter, wealthy, poor, all types of people. Once death comes, let's go just see and look at them, that happened to them. One day my body will be laying down here and others they're washing. It's very important. So now, want to know what is the mark, what is maut. قُلْ إِنَّ الْمَوْتَ الَّذِي تَفِرُّونَ مِنْهُ فَإِنَّهُ مُلَاقِيكُمْ. Say, Holy Prophet, to those people who are running away from the death, death will come and visit you. مُوتُوا قَبْلَ أَن تَمُوتُوا. Before death will come to us, we have to face the death. It means we have to prepare ourselves. We have to be in the state of awareness. The meaning of death is complete awareness. Shu'ur, bidari. Awake. The person who's sleeping, he doesn't know what's going around him. But who is awake, He knows what is going. So death is awareness, awakening, shu'ur, acknowledgement. So once we have acknowledgement of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, يَوْمَ تَكْشِفُ الْغِطَاء. Those who are Ibadur Rahman, they see their position and they see the consequences of all the bad and ugly actions. That's why once they commit any sin, they turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they seek forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and tawbah with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because they see they're burning themselves in the hellfire before it comes. Sometimes you also know that if you do some good action, good things to people, you will sleep very comfort. Alhamdulillah. But if you torture someone, if you do something bad towards other people, you're turning and tossing and cannot sleep and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I wish I should avoid that and those type of things. It's, within, that's a nature, that's an instinct, that's a fitrah which built in our personality, that's given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just what we have to do is, we have to open our eyes and we have to awake our real nature and fitrah. Once we awake our fitrah, we'll be okay. I'm going to talk about, inshallah, wasiyah, one of the very important aspects. Today there's no time, but I'm going to, inshallah, cover today about the death, some of the points. I'm going to talk, inshallah, about the wasiyah in future, inshallah, lectures. All of us, we have to know, it's a beautiful hadith. لما سئل عن الموت قال أما للمؤمن كنزع ثياب وسخة قملة. What is the death? Awareness. Changing a position from worse to better, or from better to worse. That's up to us. لما دخل على رجل قد غرق في سكرات الموت. All of us, it's a guarantee from our beloved Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen and Quran and Hadith that all of us are going to face 5 stations, 5 different or 5 steps, stations before death. 5 halats, 5 different positions or stations, 5 different steps we have to take that before death. The first one is قبل الموت, before death. We have to face the first stage is sakaratul maut. Allah, what is the sakaratul maut? The Quran says وجاء سكرة الموت بالحق ذلك ما كنت منه تحيد ما يلفظ من قول إلا كلديه رقيب عتيد. When the Sakratul Maut will come, we can see and we feel everything, but we cannot speak, we cannot talk, we cannot act. Just we are looking around and we want to speak, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, no, that's it. Just look what you did. ذق ما كنت تعمل. Just taste what you prepare yourself. That's what called sakaratul maut. Sakara is from sukar. Sukar, intoxicant. For example, a person who is drunk, he cannot understand what is going. Although he can see, he can walk, but not complete walk. Just he's kind of half asleep, half awake, can see, but he can't. It's not control of himself. The controlling point is somewhere else. That's called intoxicant. So before death, our body will be controlled by Raqib and Atid, the 2 angels. Those angels will control our body. Not alcohol. 2 angels of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I kind of half awake, half sleep. I see, but I can't. I talk, but I can't. I walk, but I can't. It's controlled by someone. It's my body, but controlled by someone else. That's what Quran says. Sakratul Maut. This is Sakratul Maut, is a position all of us we have to go by. We have to go through that situation. What's going to happen at that time? Insan, human being, me, you will say, oh Allah, can I have more time? I go back. I can act better. لعلي أعمل صالحا. I can do something good. وهي كلمة قائلها. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Kalla, no, it's too late. You're facing death. This is before death, just I want to show you what you've done. Allahu Akbar. Why are we going to have a Sakrat al-Maut? The first one is because in this dunya, this world, we have an attachment to this world. Attachment could be for my wife, my husband, my children, my home, my position, my maqam, my status, my, for example, masjids, my home, my, for example, friends, whatever. People, they have different sort of attachment. Allahu Akbar. Radha Krishna, I don't know. You heard the name of Radha Krishna, not the person of India. The other, he was agnostic. It's Arif, or not Arif, what we say is a Murtaz. Radha Krishna, he used to live in the time of Sheikh Bahai. He was a great agnostic at that time. Murtaz, Arif. And he was blessed by all the Indian people at that time, Brahman people, to be the best and the greatest one. He got the certificate of the best among all the agnostic people. He was thinking that I'm the best. And coincidentally, he saw the book called Mahul Arfan. What is the Arfan? The true Arfan? Because lots of people nowadays, they promote the fake Arfan. That's not the Ahlul Bayt. Arfan is the Quran, the Hadith, the Risalatul Huquq, the Risala of the Mujtahid. That's the Arfan. Because Imam Ali is a Arif. He used to recite Quran. If you want to go and see the Arfan beside Quran and Hadith and Riwayat, that's a Jahannam, nothing Arfan. That's a fake Arfan. So the true Arfan, Sheikh Bahai wrote a book, True Arfan. He read this book and said, wow, I thought that I'm the greatest Arif at this time. He seems that he's better than me. I have to go and I have to learn something. He came from India to Iran, Isfahan, and the Sheikh Bahai, he used to live in Isfahan. He had a great, government at that time in Isfahan. And knocking the door and door by door, once he came to Isfahan, he said, I want to see him. He said, oh, you want to see him? You have to get the appointment. He said, no, I'm looking for this Arif. We're talking about this Arif. He's the head of this state and this city, and you cannot see him like that. You cannot knock the door. You need to have appointment. So astaghfirullah, this is my word. Said, wow, why came all the way from India to Iran to spend all this time, 6 months walking? At that time there was no airplane, there's nothing, just walking. Why came here? Wow, shame on me. I take all this effort to come and see to this a liar. He left. And while he was going by, he thought that, wait a minute, I came here all the way to see him. Just go and see him. At least I can warn him. Warn him that don't deceive others. Don't teach others what you don't practice. If you want to be Arif, you cannot have this government, hukum and all that. So okay, I want to go and I want to get the appointment. And he got the appointment and knocked the door. And once Sheikh Ibrahim opened the door and says, oh, Radha Krishna, welcome. Shocking for him. His name was pronounced by him. Wow. And the first talk he said, you know what? You are a liar. You're this, you're that. You need to clear your position. You cannot be Arif while you possess all this power and you're head of the government and all that. You cannot. You cannot live in this palace and claim that you're Arif. So how's your life? Come and see my life in India. I live in, for example, cage, or I don't know, in the cave, in one of the caves, Ghar, and see my life, how my life is. Okay, no problem, let's go. Radha Krishna and Sheikh Bahai, they left Isfahan. Half the way, Radha Krishna, remember that his kashkul, his in a bowl, they used to go and they used to beg from the people, that called the holy bowl, or the kashkul. So that I forget my kashkul in your place, in your home. I want to get it back. So no problem, I can buy you better than that, and no problem. So no, that is a holy and this and that. I have a deep attachment to that and everything. Sheikh Bahai was, telling him, no problem, I can buy you better and those. He said, no, I cannot live without that kashkul. He said, wow. Now Radha Krishna, that's the difference between me and you. I have beautiful home, palace, everything, but I'm not attached to neither of these things. I'm ready anytime if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala called me today. إِنِّي وَجَّهْتُ وَجْهِيَ لِلَّذِي فَطَرَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. I'm ready to die. I'm ready to go to India. I have nothing attachment. Like I'm not attached to anything. But you have in this whole introvert this, the kashkul, and you cannot give that kashkul. Wake up! What do you mean? So sometimes people have a small thing, but they're attached to that. Oh, that's mine. Oh, that's no. You can have a best home, that's not a problem. But don't be attached to that. You can have best fruit, best food, best clothing, but don't attach to that. The moment you attach the position, your place, I don't know whatever, that's the disaster in your life. That's why we have to face the sakratul maut, because of attachment. Once inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un, from being Allah and going to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this world, we have a transaction of going from this world and being with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have to have no attachment of this world. Everything we should do, each and every split second we should be ready. Inni wajjahtu wajhiya. You see, the Ahlul Bayt, the teachings of Ahlul Bayt is a beautiful. Allah, Imam Hussain. Can you imagine that the life of Imam Hussain in Karbala? Although he was so, like his family members, Zainab, Sakina, his daughters, his sister, his son, all of them, they're dear to Imam Hussain. But he was not attached to any of them. Yes, we have a wida, dhikr wida. The moment he wants to leave to battlefield, the wida was so painful for Ahlul Bayt. It was not simple. Why? Because Imam is leaving. But Imam Hussain, while he's taking his step, إِنِّي وَجَّهْتُ وَجْهِيَ لِلَّذِي فَطَرَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ إِلَهِي رِضًا بِقَضَائِكَ وَتَسْلِيمًا لِأَمْرِكَ Wallah, I'm here. لَبَّيْكَ اللَّهُمَّ لَبَّيْكَ. I'm here. Accept me. Nothing should stop Imam Hussain. His daughter comes. Sakina, you heard all the story. Yes, there was a painful moment. Imam Hussain, he has to come down from the horse and he has to say goodbye to Sayyid, Sakina and everything. But Sakina, she cannot stop Imam Hussain. Why? Because Imam Hussain, his mission is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. See, this is the key for all of us. That if we are ready right now to take this step, if I'm ready to take off from this world, to have mi'raj to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In fact, each and every time we offer the prayer, we say, Allahu Akbar. So I'm not here in this world. I'm taking off to where? To Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I have to leave everything. Yes, I'm not saying that you should leave your responsibility towards your wife and children. No. We need to do our responsibility, but the responsibility should not be obstacle on the way to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to Imam Hussain. So that's the beautiful message. Imam Hussain, you see, one of the great scholars, Ayatollah Ma'ashi Najafi, before he died, he changed his wasiyah and will. In the beginning, he wrote the wasiyah that after I die, please bury with me my handkerchief rumal, which I used to cry for Imam Hussein about 40 years, and also the tasbih and the sajdah, I offer the prayer of night 40 years with me. Please bury that. Before his death, he saw the dream, and the dream, shaitan is attacking to him and taking these two, tasbih and the mohr, or the sajdah and the handkerchief, and he said, I'm going to trade on if you say La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Ayatollah Rashid Najafi, he was struggling. Once he woke up, he said, Astaghfirullah, oh my son, Bisaram, give me that will, I want to change. Said that, yes, indeed, I wrote a will to bury this with me, but I want to I want to say that don't bury with me. In fact, he himself buried with his hand. Said, I don't want to have any attachment of anything. Even that tasbih, that rumal can be obstacle between us and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Brothers and sisters, sometimes even those who are working in the masjids, because of the true attachment to the masjid, sometimes they commit a sin. Why? Because they have a true attachment. Everything, house, masjid, everything is a tool to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Once we reach to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have all ni'mat and rahmat. That's a beautiful message. Even Hazrat Zainabiya Kubra salamullah alayha, the noble lady of Islam, when she wants to offer the qurbani to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, she took the body of her brother. Can you imagine that? On the day of Karbala, on the day of Ashura, she took the body and she said, Allahumma taqabbal minna hadha al-qurban. Oh Allah, accept from us this qurban, this sacrifice. Why? Because Zainab, although she has a deep attachment to brother, but this attachment is not for this dunya, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. She feels that Ma ra'aytu illa jamila. I saw nothing but beauty from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us and give strength and tawfiq to have all the ni'mat and rahmat. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر لي ولكم إلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات بالأخص مرحومين, the sponsor of the tonight's مرحومين, الفاتحة مع الصلوات.